Hey everyone, how's it going? It's James O'Reilly here with Dream Better English. I hope you're all doing very well. It's the end of the week. It's been very intense for me, I must say. Stop that music there. So, very intense for me. I'm just getting used to the online streaming. Very excited to be doing it. And I think at the end of the week, why not just relax? Sit back and enjoy it. It's been, like I say, it's been an intense week. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pretty much similar to what I've been doing already, just looking at some things, but we're going to look at some interesting things. Actually, you know what? I don't actually need these. So I'm going to take those off. I'm going to put them over there. And what can I say, guys? Listen, it's Friday evening. We're gonna start with an idiom: to let your hair down. I'm gonna let my hair down, which means I'm gonna relax and I'm gonna just enjoy myself. So cheers. Got a little glass of wine here with me, a famous Spanish wine. It's from the south of Spain and it's called Fino, but it depends where you are. Could be if it's Fino where I am, but if you're in Sevilla, it's called Manzanilla, and everywhere else in the world, it's called sherry. I'll tell you something about sherry. The origin of the name sherry comes from Xeres, which is an Arabic word, because the south of Spain used to belong to the Arabs. They were here many centuries ago. But sherry became more popular, less so in Spain, but more it was exported over by the English, because they like the sweet wine, but now you get all like dry sherry or sweet sherry. So I'm drinking a dry sherry, which we use as an aperitif here, and it's a fantastic wine. So what else can I say? As I said, it's Friday. We're letting our hair down. I've got the idiom that I just gave you, to let your hair down. So I hope you guys are letting your hair down this Friday evening, wherever you are in the world. I'd like to say thank you to anybody who's listened in over the last few days. Like I say, I'm an English teacher and I'm just trying to help you guys develop upon your English, help you with your pronunciation. This is also great for me because it gives me some presentation skills. I enjoy it, to be honest. Normally I'll just relax in the evenings and look at the newspapers or something like this. You know, I've got a couple of kids and I'm exhausted in the evenings. But what I can do is I can look at those things and also be in contact with you guys at the same time. I really enjoy helping people learn English. I don't see it as work, to be honest. It's enjoyable for me because I'm also a language learner. I learned, and I don't mean I speak it, okay? I spend time learning French, and as I say, I live in Spain, so I'm learning Spanish at the same time. But I'm taking my time. I'm not in a hurry. I don't have to be in a hurry. Some of you guys, I understand, you've got a bit more pressure. So what can I say? I don't want you guys to feel that this is going to be like homework or this is going to be like a course. This is me talking to you, helping you. We're going to talk about everything. You can contact me, get in the chat, ask me some questions, interact. A different way to learn English, a bit more enjoyable, a bit more fun. I hope it's going to be enjoyable for you. So we're going to be looking at, what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at some idioms, phrasal verbs, slang of the day, thanks to englishclub.com. That's where I'm going to pick those up from. I've looked at something earlier today as well that I want to look at, which is the countries where English is spoken most in the world. And there's a few surprises in there. I didn't even know that these guys spoke English as a first language, or even as a language maybe that holds the country together. In many ex-colonies. What else am I looking at? 11 things I hate about living in London. Now, I lived in London before. It's the same as every big city. If you live in a big city, there's going to be things that you really, really like, and there's going to be things that drive you up the wall. That's another expression we say. When something drives you crazy, it drives you up the wall. So you have to say it like, he drives me up the wall. You have to say it like you're really, that's how we say it. So let me know in the comments, if you're listening to the live stream or later on, who drives you up the wall in your country, or someone you know online, or you, more than likely, I suppose most politicians we read about or in the newspapers, or certain celebrities. Celebrities, are they celebrities or not? They drive you up the wall. So we're going to be looking at that, and otherwise that's it. I don't want to, it's, it's Friday, we want to enjoy ourselves. We're, as I said, we're letting our hair down, no pressure, we're not following a strict routine here. So let me know as well how your weekend is going to plan out, or I'm not going to get into that expression, to pan out, but I'll come back to it later on. But like I said, we're going to look at those things, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into a little look at what's been going on in the news. My basic thing is, like you guys, perhaps, I don't know if you have time. I've got 2 kids. I don't have time, okay? I get up in the morning, and all I know is I have to make these little kids survive, So from until they go to bed in the evening, I mean, it's summertime, they are doing summer camp, but until they go to bed, I have no time for myself. I don't, I'm working at the same time. So the evening time is my time to see what's going on in the world. Probably like you guys, if you're busy people. I don't know if you're on holidays. Let me know. What are you doing on your holidays? Do you have holidays? Are you fortunate? A lot of people do not have the luxury to have holidays. A holiday, I've come to realize a holiday is a luxury. Most people, and a lot of people like you guys learning English, I understand. And when I was younger too, I didn't have the luxury of holidays. I was working all the time, and if you didn't work, well, you didn't get paid, and then you have to pay the rent to your landlord. We'll come across this again. Landlord, do any of you guys remember? If you guys saw in the last stream, I talked about landlords. Anyone remember? No? A landlord is the person who owns the property, the house, the apartment, the flat that you live in. The person who owns that is the landlord if it's a man, and the landlady if it's a woman, or someone who identifies as a man or a woman. So I can't remember what I was going to say, but that will come up in later on in the, I think it's going to be 11 things I hate about London. Let me know where you guys live. And as we go along in the chat or in the comments, here I'm live on YouTube and on Twitch. So let me know later or whenever you want in relation to what we're going to talk about, what you think. If we're talking about landladies, what are they like in the countries where you're from? I've had a few landladies when I was in London. Very nice landlady. It turns out everything seemed okay until the landlady, it's very, okay, let me start. Culturally, it's very normal to share flats or apartments or houses, because a lot of people live in houses in the UK and Ireland. It's very normal for people, professional people who have good jobs, to share apartments. So the most important thing for me when I was living in London is I was young, I was going out, it's a Friday night, I have kids, so I'm in tonight, but when I was younger, I was out, I was having a few drinks, I was enjoying myself like you should be, whatever way you want to do it. So I was out with friends, enjoying myself, and the most important thing for me living in London was to live in a safe neighborhood, because I wanted to live in a safe neighborhood because I would be going out and I would be coming home late at night. And you guys know wherever you live, it depends where you live. Where I live right now, I can come home at any time in the morning and it's safe. But in London, you just never know what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's dangerous, but Some places, okay. So anyway, I found a place in Tufnell Park, which is in the north of London, and the landlady was fine. Everything was great, and then it turns out the landlady was staying in the apartment, and I had to have an intervention at some point, and I eventually had to say, you're not supposed to live in the apartment that you're renting to people. But she was a really cool person. I think she was just kind of, another expression, chancing her arm. When you chance your arm, you're taking kind of a risk. So she was like, okay, I'll rent this apartment and then I'll see if I can stay here at the same time, like stay in a room. So anyway, cool person. She understood, and she had another property anyway. So I'm rambling now. So rambling is when you're just going on and on and on. So let's get into it. Let's have a look and see what's in the papers. We'll make some comments. You let me know. Do me a favor. If this is halfway interesting for you guys, tell your friends. Let them know, look, there's this guy. He's on YouTube. He's on Twitch. He streams. I still have to organize a regular streaming time, but I'm hoping to organize that so that you guys will know that I'm going to be online. It's great for you guys, I suppose, in South America. I'll be online at a great time. Not too late for you guys. Nighttime here in Europe, and in Russia, they're in bed. In Asia, they're in bed. I think. I gotta look at my. Let's see what time it is in. Let's say. Let's pick a country in Asia, and let's have a look and see what time it is. What country are you thinking of? Okay. Same as me now. Korea. It's when I was growing up, everything was about Japan. Korea wasn't even mentioned. Now it's all Korea. It's very interesting. But Japan, obviously very popular. So, right now I've got it here. In Beijing, it's 5:15 in the morning. In Seoul, Korea, it's 6:15. Who's listening to me, or who's going to listen to me at this time in the morning? In New York, it's 5:00 in the. Okay. So this is the one thing about me. As I talk, and I share experiences and so on, I always think about things that are different between the countries. So right now, it is 5:00, well, 15:15, or 5:15. If you're a foreign learner of English, just say 5:15, okay? It's always easier, 5:30, 5:45, 5:50, much easier. And when you start living in a native country, you can start saying, depends, 5:30, 2:45, 2:15. But even in English-speaking countries, I think in the States, they just say 5:30, 5:15, and Australia as well. So you just never know. Always safe to say 5:10, 5:15, 5:25. I don't, as a general rule, I don't, because where I'm from, in the UK and Ireland, we say 5:30, 5:15. So in New York right now, it's 5:15. That's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to make a comment that in the States and anywhere, actually, I think anywhere in the English-speaking world, after 5:00, it's the evening. Now, some people might disagree, but I don't think so, because it's very rare. Now, I just want to say, I'm sharing this podcast with the Chihuahuas across the road, okay? So if you hear them, they're part of the podcast, okay? or the vlog. So in the English-speaking world, and this is important if you are interacting or you are older and a professional and doing business online, 5:00 is the evening, okay? For the most part, nothing in English is always. it can't be, because there's so many different cultures. But in general, I've never heard 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I've never heard anyone say 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But having lived in a few different countries, and I live here in Spain right now, when they say the afternoon, 5 o'clock is in the afternoon for people here. 7 o'clock is in the afternoon, because they have a different expression. They say por la tarde, and basically means the evening. So in English we have three things. 4 or 5, let's go. Morning, afternoon, evening, night, morning. So 9 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, or I start work at 9 o'clock. It depends. The afternoon. The afternoon starts at 12, which is also noon. So if someone says, I'll meet you at noon, most people don't say 12 o'clock. And you know if it's going to be 12 in the day or 12 in the night. You just know by context. But 12 noon or noon is 12 o'clock in the daytime. Everything up to then is the morning. Okay? Everything up to 12 is the morning. 11 o'clock is the morning, and then 12 noon. Then we say the afternoon for 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way up to 5 o'clock. Then you hit the evening. You get to the evening. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8 is the evening. But it's a bit grey. It's a bit 9 o'clock in the evening, 10 o'clock. People will say 10 o'clock in the evening, 9 o'clock in the evening, 11 o'clock in the evening. But it's kind of like before it's dark, or... Yeah, so even people will change the way they talk depending on the season. So if it's winter, they might say, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. But I would say 9 o'clock forward is... because it gets dark. Except for summer, yeah. But 9 o'clock forward, say nighttime. When it's dark, and I notice the same here in Spain, people are a bit, it depends. Because sometimes I will get a message from someone and it will say, Buenos dias. And 10 minutes later or before, I will have a message and it will be Buenas tardes. And the way they do it here is, in Spain, is lunch starts at 2 o'clock, and generally after lunchtime, so lunch is between 2 and 4 generally, after lunch they'll say Buenas tardes. And for us in English, it's when it kind of gets dark, you say the nighttime. So that's how it works. Let me recap. No, I didn't finish, because it goes to the morning again. 1 o'clock, so you have 12 o'clock, which is midnight, and then 1 o'clock, which is the morning. And it's dark. So after 12 o'clock, midnight, you'll say 12 o'clock at night, and then you'll start saying 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. Yeah, all the way up again to 12 noon will be the morning. So the early hours of the morning, when it's late and it's after 12 o'clock, we're talking about the morning time. Look, I know I'm rambling, but this stuff it's useful, you know what I mean? And that's the way I am. Once I get focused on something, well, I'll move around, but these things are important. And especially if you work in business, I cannot actually say how important it is to know these things. These are the most basic things, and if you don't know, you'll lose a job. I know someone. I was talking to a student recently, and we had a big thing because we are obviously here in Europe, and it was about a job they were going for. They had an interview, and the person was on the East Coast of America, the East Coast of the States. When I say America, remember, if you saw, and I will reiterate, America for English-speaking people means the United States, okay? If it's any other country, we'll state the country: Venezuela, Argentina, Peru, Canada. America is the United States. It's the way it is. So the interviewer said, I live on the East Coast of America, so anytime if you can find some time. So what do you do? What do you do when you have that situation? The interviewer is telling you, I'm available at this time. Can you find any slots, any time available? How do you reply? Well, you reply by working with their time, because most people, or to be on the safe side, most people, as I said, I'm not from here, I'm not from Spain, but when I talk to people from where I'm from in the UK and Ireland, they always talk to me and they're always thinking about their time. Their time is 1 hour difference to me. So if I say, okay, I'll talk to you at 9 o'clock, they are thinking about their time, 9 o'clock at their time. So I would always say, if you're in control, give them a time in their time. So we're in Europe, someone's on the East Coast of the States, it's the interviewer. I'm going to put them as more important than me, and I'm going to work with their time. So you reply to the email and you say, hi, John or Jane, I am available on Thursday at 5 o'clock your time. Now, it's not going to be 5 o'clock in the morning, obviously. So you can, if you want to make it clear, 5 p.m. your time. We do not work generally, English people do not work with the 24-hour clock. Okay, so do not write 17 for 5. Okay, I completely understand that now. I use that now here in Spain, but for English people, it's 5 p.m. or just 5 your time. And your time means wherever you are, and that means you have to do the work and find out. So I have no idea, but I have New York here, and it says New York is 6 hours behind me. All right, so I just find out when 5 o'clock is for them, and I go 6 hours back, and whatever time that is, probably, I don't know, 11 or something. So that's how you do it. Super important. Another thing is just be very careful. Just be very careful when you're working about these things. You can lose a job, and it would be, and the worst thing is, it's not their fault and it's not your fault, because you are just completely acting within your culture and they are acting within their culture. Who's to blame? Nobody's to blame. It's just unfortunate, but you weren't there at the time. You don't get the job, and it's such a shame, because you're obviously a good professional, but that's the one thing I tell my students. It's like the ABC. You learn it first in whatever language, and you forget it first. And times and dates, it seems like they're the types of things that you learn at the beginning of a language. But trust me, where I'm from, we even use the dates differently to the United States. So today is, what date is today? So today is the 29th of July. But in the States, they say it's July 29th. And they write it differently too. So if you're in the early part of the month and you write it, again, for me, I've got it wrong. Super careful. You have to be so super careful. All right. I'm going to call this the English ramble, because I'm rambling. I'm going on and on and on. Okay. But I love talking about these things. I love talking about cultural differences, and later, as I become more interacting with you guys, we'll go down the rabbit hole of these type of things. The rabbit hole is, rabbits, they live underground and they have a very long, it's called a warren, but when you start on something and then you start going down and down and down, we call this going down the rabbit hole. It's going into detail into a topic. So that's something I like to do. So if you are in the chat later on, we can do that type of thing. It'd be excellent for me. I just really enjoy cultural differences. It drives my wife crazy. She's a lot more straightforward, not interested. You like this, I like this. It's fine. Like, no, I want to know the differences. I want to know why. So anyway, let me get into what we're going to look at. That's not what I was going to do. I'm going to just give me a second. I'm still working this stuff out, and I'm gonna go across here. Okay, boom, we're in there. So we're gonna look at some English newspapers or newspapers from around the world, see what's happening. Like I said, I don't know. From this morning, I've no idea what happened. If you guys are at home, grab yourselves a drink. If you are alcohol drinking people, it is Friday. Let's enjoy ourselves. If not, just I'm here to keep you guys company for the next hour or so. And I'm going to jump into this. So let me go back here and we'll get into what we're going to look at. So here what we have is different stories, but I want to see what was going on this morning. Okay, listen, if it's too serious, we're not going to spend too long. It is the weekend. So here we have, do you know what this guy's name is? This is the president of France, and this is the, what do you call the main person of Saudi Arabia? The Crown Prince. The Crown Prince. The visit of the Saudi Crown Prince to the Elysee outrages human rights defenders. Yeah, it is interesting because basically Saudi Arabia has a lot of money because of oil. So other countries in the world are forced to respect them. Other countries in the world have to do business with Saudi Arabia. France, obviously, he's like, okay, we got to do business with you. If you're a poor country, I don't need you, you know. So, but Saudi Arabia is a very rich country, and there was the case of Khashoggi. I can't remember his first name. But he was a journalist for an American newspaper, and he was in Turkey. He needed to update his passport. He was a Saudi Arabian national, but he was quite outspoken against Saudi Arabia. Now, outspoken means he spoke openly. And I would say outspoken often is you speak openly, but you are critical. You're critical of whatever we're talking about. So let me get back in there, make sure I am in there. Okay, so he was quite critical of the regime. Also, if you don't like a government, you'll call it a regime. So he's quite critical of the Saudi Arabian regime. And so what happened, he went into the embassy of Saudi Arabia in Istanbul, in Turkey, and he was killed. And it was very, very obvious that it was this man. To a lot of people, it was obvious, because I don't know, that it was this man, the Crown Prince, who was responsible for this man's murder. And it was outrageous. Absolutely outrageous, like in the title. Outrageous. But a year or two later, everything has been forgotten, and France welcomes the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on Thursday evening for a working dinner. Okay, so they're entertaining him and talking business. When you're entertaining and talking business, it's called a working dinner. Could be something like, where you work for a business, you do some, and then you bring your clients to a restaurant, and then you have a meal and you talk business. It's a working dinner. Nearly 4 years after the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, yes, human rights defenders did not take off in the face of this rehabilitation and filed a complaint against the prince in Paris for complicity in torture and enforced disappearance. Okay. It's quite difficult for governments. Because these guys are so rich, they can give you so much. But ethically speaking, the average person in the country would be quite against, unethical grounds, what this man stands for. It's quite obvious they assassinated somebody. They assassinated a journalist because he was critical of their country. And now everything is okay. So it's a shame. Says the Belgian newspaper, the BB. What did they say? This did not convince human rights defenders. 3 non-governmental organizations, NGOs, including Democracy for the Arab World, Dawn, founded by... filed a complaint on Thursday. Belgian newspaper, the Guardian newspaper. Okay. So, what else is in the news? We're going to just go over quickly. We don't need to look in depth. Biden, Xi talks. Is it she or Xi? I think it's Xi. Abortion. Okay, so what was happening when we were all sleeping? Abortion and Bogota, Caracas. Okay, so there were a few different stories here. Xi warns Biden against U.S. interference in Taiwan. The American and Chinese presidents met for 2 hours. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see. Okay, met for 2 hours and 17 minutes on Thursday without making concrete progress on many sensitive issues, having erupted in recent months between the two powers. So yes, China and the United States, there's a bit of tension between the two countries because of Taiwan. Taiwan wants to be independent. China says, no, you belong to us. And it seems that China might actually go ahead and... Well, what do you call it? Do you call it an invasion or just sending an operation to Taiwan? I find it very difficult to believe that China will back down and accept Taiwan. Because if Taiwan goes ahead and says, yeah, we're an independent country and China accepts this, well, guess who is going to put military on Taiwan? Was the United States, of course. And then China has US military on its doorstep. So I can understand Chinese people or the Chinese government. This is geopolitics, you know. I think it's very, when you stand back, you're like, yeah, leave Taiwan alone, let it have its own country. And yeah, I understand, absolutely. But then Chinese people will be saying, well, if you let Taiwan have its own country, let's have a look on the map, because a lot of people, including myself, don't know where Taiwan is exactly. So let's have a look at what we're talking about. We are in Spain over here. Zoom out miles over here. Okay. Also, guys, I want to know where you guys are listening from. So here we have China over here, and we're going to look. Oh, there we go. Taiwan. How big is Taiwan? It looks tiny in relation to China, but if we look at it in relation to Greece or Sicily over here, yeah, it's about the size of Sicily, maybe a bit bigger. Okay, so Taiwan, yeah, so you can see, okay, China's here, and then Taiwan is here. So if they let Taiwan become an independent country in their minds, then the United States puts some military bases here, and then China wants to be a military power, and they can't have the United States on their doorstep, basically with military ready to go anytime. So I can understand from their point of view. I'm kind of divorced from this situation as well. I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't. It's a good expression. I don't have a dog in this fight, which means I don't support the United States. I don't support China. I don't care. In a sense, it's not my business. I do see, everybody's point of view. I think what China would probably want to do here eventually, if they were to support and let Taiwan have its independence, would be to say, well, you can have your independence, but on condition that you do not allow foreign military to be based in your country. And if you do, we're going to invade straight away. So I don't know. But I'll tell you what, I will say it right here, right now. I do believe China is going to go ahead and have an operation like Russia did. Call it what you want. Invasion operation. It's subjective. I do think China will go ahead. And you heard it here first, guys. So if you're in Taiwan and you're watching this, what do you think? If you're in China and you're able to watch this, or you have a VPN, what do you guys think? Or you're Chinese national living abroad? Because I remember I worked in Barcelona one time, and we were, like when you grow up in the West like me, Tibet over here somewhere is kind of a cool place, and China's the big bad guy. Let's have a look. Where's Tibet? It's not where I wanted to be at all. I'm supposed to be looking at maps. We're supposed to be in game. So apologies for anyone. I knew that was going to happen, to be honest. I knew it was going to happen. We're in game here. So this is British versus English top 21 differences. So I wanted to look at this and then make some comments on what they say in the video. Let's look at this guy. Let's give him a shout out as well. Grammarlookup.com. Okay. And we're gonna look at this guy's video and make some comments. This is top 21 differences in British and American English. Let's have a look.
Commonly asked questions by learners of English. And hopefully native speakers of English will learn a thing or two from this video as well. The truth is that both British English and American English have numerous varieties. In other words, various accents and dialects.
And this is absolutely true. And I'm sure it's the same in in whatever country you're from. And a lot of people in English say, "Oh, but I want to learn the American accent. I want to learn the English accent." The truth is, you do need to know or be familiar with all the accents.
So for the main part of this video, I'll try to focus on the most standard non-regional variety of each one. Disclaimer, I'm not American, I'm actually Canadian, but I'm confident that we will someday be Americans after the invasion. Standard Canadian English is very, very close to general American English, so I will say the American English samples myself, unless there's some specific need to distinguish between American and Canadian pronunciation. There are several ways in which British English and American English are different: vocabulary, accent, spelling, and grammar. Vocabulary. Let me just throw a bunch of examples at you. In the US, people generally say garbage or trash, while in the UK, they generally say rubbish.
Yeah, that's true. What I'm going to do is, if any of this is... I'll make comments on it, and we'll see where we go from there, but garbage, trash... trash would be, garbage. And you also say somebody is talking rubbish.
Both literally and figuratively.
The game was rubbish.
Americans.
Yeah, if you want to say you're really bad at something in British English, you can say I'm rubbish at. I'm rubbish at football. I'm rubbish at crosswords. I'm rubbish at. So you can say it figuratively as well.
Go on vacation, while Brits go on holiday.
Yeah, that's true. I always say go on holiday or go on holidays, go on vacation. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, completely correct.
And that's also possible in American English. In the US, people rent apartments, while in the UK, they rent flats.
Yeah, that's true. I would say now apartment is becoming more popular to say in English, just to differentiate, because a flat before was considered for poor people, because in the UK people always have houses because of the population. We just tend to live in houses, whereas in other countries to live in a house is a luxury. But now people are more like often living in flats, but flats, as I said, were for poor people, and like social housing. So to make a differentiation, you would say an apartment.
In the US, if your apartment is at street level, then you live on the first floor, and the person above you lives on the second floor. In the UK, you live on the ground floor, and the person above you lives on the first floor.
Yeah, this is something that's different in a lot of different countries, and I just think it depends where you live. You need to be flexible. It's quite easy. If I went to the States, I would adjust very quickly. There was something that really confused me. I went to Barcelona to live, and there was like, there were like the ground floor. Then there was the name for between ground floor and first floor. So it was like ground floor, between ground floor, first floor. It was like, I can't remember what it was, but then it was like, so the ground floor was the ground floor, and then it was like entresuelo, primero. So it was weird, and I just couldn't get my head around it. But yeah, Ground floor. For me, yeah, I have arguments with my wife about this because she says the American way and I say it the British way.
If that person above you is unable or just too lazy to take the stairs, in the US, they'd take the elevator. In the UK, they'd take the lift.
Yeah, that's correct. We say the lift and the elevator. Again, you need to be flexible.
You're bored at home, in the US, you might turn on the TV, while in the UK, you would turn on the telly.
Yeah, that's true. The telly is more like slang. But yeah, as you can see, there's an asterisk here. Both words are used in the UK. Yeah.
When you step
use both
outside of your
words.
building to go for a walk, in the US, you might walk on the sidewalk, while in the UK, you walk on the pavement.
I don't know. No, I'm going to disagree here. Sidewalk, definitely US. Pavement. I don't know. Even pavement sounds a bit American to me. I would say the footpath or the path. Yeah. The pavement for me is more like saying the ground. Yeah. So the footpath. The footpath would be more British.
And if you're tired of walking, in the US, you might take the subway. In the UK, you take the underground.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the subway, the underground, and in Europe, the metro.
In the US, it's perfectly okay to wear pants when you're riding the subway. But in the UK, you'd better wear some trousers too, because pants means underpants.
That's true. Pants. Yeah, my wife says pants, but I say trousers. Pants equals underpants. Yeah, that's true.
And specifically, women's underpants are sometimes referred to as knickers in the UK.
Yes,
So when
and we'll often say like, "Don't get your knickers in a knot," which means like, don't get stressed about something.
someone overreacts to something, in the US, you might say, "Don't get your panties in a bunch." But in the UK, you would say,
Don't get your knickers in a twist.
Okay.
Paul, how dare
Get
you?
your knickers in a twist. Don't get your knickers in a knot. A knot is when you tie your shoelaces, or yeah. How dare you be so crude? Now I can't show the my 6-year-old.
You be so crude. Now I can't show this video to my 6-year-old students.
"Oh, don't even worry about that. They'll just watch it on their phones during recess." Going back to the word pants for a moment, it can also be used in British English as an adjective, meaning something is crappy or it sucks.
That's true.
For example,
That album is pants.
in American English, you might say, "That album sucks."
Yeah.
Accent.
Sucks, I think, is becoming more popular now. Like generally, Americanisms are going always become, not always, but a lot of them can creep in, and I think sucks is gradually. When I was growing up, sucks was always there, but it's gradually creeping in. Creeping is like slowly coming in. Accent, okay.
So for the US, I'll try to focus on general American English, and for the UK, I'll try to focus on received pronunciation. These are the accents you're likely to hear on CNN and the BBC, respectively. R sound.
Okay.
American English is rhotic, meaning that R sounds are always clearly pronounced. British English is non-rhotic, meaning that the R sound is not pronounced unless it's followed by a vowel sound. Listen to the difference. My father's in the car.
My father's in the car.
Let's focus on two words. Father,
Father.
car.
Car.
Notice that the final R sound is not pronounced in British English.
Yeah, this is one thing that so many people, and it's so interesting. I am from Dublin myself, in Ireland, and we are rhotic like the United States. And it's just so interesting how you can make your accent sound like a British accent, but just by dropping the R in non-rhotic, like my father is in the car. You don't even have to really make an effort to do the accent. You just focus on dropping the R. That is I think Australia and South Africa and New Zealand are non-rhotic as well. Not all places in the UK are non-rhotic. Some, like in Scotland and in some places, are rhotic. This is a very interesting point. And if you are somebody who is trying or a fan of the British English accent, focus on this area, and you'll be doing well. But it does seem that the rhotic accent, eventually will be, I don't want to say the winner, but be a lot more common.
Father ends in a simple schwa vowel, like father. And in car, the vowel sound is lengthened in place of the R sound.
Car.
Now, the thing about British non-rhotic accents that I find pretty wild is something called the intrusive R. That means that people sometimes add an R sound to a word that doesn't actually have one if it's followed by a vowel in the next word. For example, in the sentence, I saw a film. In British English, it sometimes sounds like this.
I saw a film.
So you can hear that there's an R sound connecting saw and ah. I once had a British on-the-job trainer, and I remember she said, "Hello, my name is Paula, and I'll be your trainer today." I remember thinking, Paula? What? You can't say your own name? But it wasn't.
Yeah, there's some interesting things in the UK when I lived in London. Often an ing would sound like ink. No. It even gets better than this. 1 second. Okay, so when I lived in the UK, I suppose it's the same everywhere you go, but they would say around the London region, yes. So nothing became na, and the th became an f, and the ing became a k. Or the G became a K, so become nothing. Nothing. I went to Canada. Yes, like an R, and they will and the common people or the street level regular people will say, and I didn't do double negative. Shouldn't say double negative, but people do. And I went to Canada and I didn't do nothing. So there you go. If you want to sound like a real Londoner, well, that would be probably East London. But yeah, it's the same everywhere you go. Like bad grammar everywhere you go, but you'll sound more native. Okay, so let's look at a couple more things from this guy. He's got a good point. He's doing a good video here. We'll give him another plug. Let me go back and we'll just see another few things.
It wasn't just her, that was the intrusive R. T sounds. In British English, and again, I must emphasize that I'm talking about the accent referred to as received pronunciation, T sounds are pronounced as hard T's, in other words, voiceless T sounds. In the US, they sometimes sound like
no
an
idea
alveolar tap instead of T, an alveolar stop.
Right.
This normally occurs in an unstressed syllable between two vowel sounds, or between a vowel and a rhotic sound, like an R sound. So in the US...
I feel like I'm in school now and the teacher has lost me and I'm just trying to keep up and trying to look like I know what they're
people
talking
say
about.
Butter. In the UK, they say
Butter.
In the US, stop fighting. In the UK,
stop fighting.
Yeah, that's something really... Yeah, okay, now I get it. That's something I really noticed when I went there. It's because if you notice, I say notice like the Americans, but I said but. Okay, everything I say I'm gonna analyze now, and I'll tell you because he'll probably say it in the next part. Okay, so 1 second. I'll come back to the so I can chat to you guys. So notice when I was studying in London, I noticed that they would say notice, and for me it was very interesting. I thought it was a bit childish to pronounce it so intense, so clear. It wasn't necessary, you know. But, and there's the other one I wanted to say was, sometimes you'll have people in the UK and they'll say, but, and then other people will swallow the T, which has become fashionable in music, I've noticed. So instead of saying butter, they'll say ba'a, later, wetter, weta. And that's also common where I'm from in Dublin. People say but pronouncing the R, so it'll be butter, later. And this, I've noticed this become quite popular now in music. It's become fashionable. And when I was growing up, it was very bad English to pronounce it like this. So yeah, it's interesting. I love these interesting things. Let's go back and have a look, but I have to make sure I go back and let you guys see as well. Just okay, I know you can see now, and we can play. But yet notice and notice. I say notice. I say it like a soft. I will call it.
You may have also noticed that the O sound in the word stop was a little different, which brings me to O sounds. In the word stop, the American O sound is an unrounded vowel, ah, while the British O sound is rounded, aw. Another example, hot.
Hot.
There's also the O diphthong in the word no. In the UK,
No.
In the UK, the sound is a schwa followed by an as in put. Show.
Show.
A sounds. In other words, sounds represented.
I think I pronounce it like the Americans. Let me have a look. Go back. No. No. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm more like the Americans, yeah. Having lived as well in the UK for almost 10 years, you wouldn't really know these things. These things you really need you really need a specific type of teacher. And I would say, don't worry wherever you're from. The most important thing is just getting whatever pronunciation you have, get it right. Because already in the English language, there's already so many differences that you don't really need to worry about it. Just get your pronunciation correct, and don't let your accent intrude.
As in put. Show.
Show.
A sounds. In other words, sounds represented
We'll take a break after this.
by the letter A. Ah in UK English normally becomes an a sound in American English. For example, in the UK,
Half.
and in the US, half. Words with a in British English remain pretty.
It's crazy because I live right beside the UK. Well, I'm from Dublin, and so much of our English is more American, because I would say half rather than half. I'll say ha.
Pretty similar in American English. In the UK,
Cat.
and in the US, cat. An exception
But there, I would say it more like the UK.
is a small set of words in which the A is followed by a double R, in which case the vowel is pronounced as eh in the US. In the UK,
Marry.
in the US, marry. Because of the difference, in the US, Mary and Mary sound the same. Carry and carry sound the same.
Yeah. That's quite interesting, yeah. It's definitely quite interesting. I wouldn't... I think Irish people like myself, we're like mid-Atlantic. You know, sometimes we pronounce more like the British, and other times we pronounce more like the Americans. So sometimes the sea in between us. The sea in between us is called the Atlantic Ocean, so we say mid-Atlantic accent. One thing that you need to know about BBC English is, guys, it doesn't exist. Okay? It doesn't exist. It's an accent to, I don't know, help people or just have it like the news or something like this, but it doesn't really exist. So I wouldn't focus on it so much. So going to move on quickly. You know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to come back. So, yeah, because I'm enjoying this, but I want you guys maybe to take a break. Get yourselves a drink, take a break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Right, we're back. We're back. Back in the saddle. Okay. How's it going out there? How's it going on Friday evening or Friday morning if you're in China? Jesus Christ. Okay. So we looked at a few of the different. This is really important. Like these things that the guy was talking. Let me give this guy a plug. Jesus. What's his name? Let me have a look at this guy's name because he's doing a good job there. What's his name? Okay, I don't know what this guy's name is. It's okay, let's plug his website. Okay, we want to. It's important to tell. Like I'm using other people's material here, but I'm commenting on it. Grammarlookup.com. Okay, check this guy out. He's pretty good. Yeah. But what's interesting about this guy is like it's the type of thing that I lived in the UK, and only when I was learning to be or studying to be an English teacher, that's the only time I learned that the main difference between, one of the biggest differences between the UK and Ireland was the rhotic and non-rhotic, that we pronounce R and they don't pronounce R. But they didn't notice exactly what it was with me, and I didn't notice what it was. So we'd all be just like joking and doing each other's accents and so on. But we didn't realize all we needed to do was say the R and not say the R. So it was these things that they can be very useful. I would be interested in knowing you guys as English learners. Let me take these off. As English learners, what accent do you guys want to learn? What accent is important for you? What accent do you think is cool? What accent do you think is sophisticated? I imagine, for example, in the UK, they really like my accent from Ireland. They really like our accent. In the United States, they really like the British accent. They think it sounds sophisticated. I think the Australian accent is quite nice. The New Zealand accent is a bit more, well, for most people I would say, because before I went to the UK, all the accents around the country sounded the same, but when I lived there, it began to change, and it became quite obvious between the north and the south. In the UK, and in the United States as well, there's a north-south divide. And in the UK, it's interesting because the south is, it's different to most countries because the south is considered the intellectual, sophisticated, proper speaking, richer in everything part of the country, and the north is unsophisticated, working class area. Whereas in most countries, it's the opposite. The south is the lazy people and the fun people, but not educated, and so on. But I think in the United States as well, they have like the southern accent, north-south divide. I think in a lot of countries, it's there is a north-south divide, where the north is intellectual and hardworking and industrious, and the south is lazy. But then what happens when you have a country that's here, and the north, just here, okay, it's the north, and here's the south. The north is industrious and hardworking, and these are the lazy guys, the fun-loving guys, yeah? And then what happens when you have the next country below? What are these guys? Are these the hard workers and these are the lazy guys? You know, I think it's a stereotype that when you look at it carefully, it's ridiculous. You know, because if you look at France and Spain, you have Paris in the north, industrious, hardworking. Go down to Marseille in the south, lazy, And then you go to the north of Spain and you have Barcelona, which is hardworking and industrious. And you go to the south, which is Sevilla, so is it, as we go down the world, everything just gets lazy? I think it's ridiculous. Because obviously Barcelona is a very successful city, and Marseille as well. So I don't know. Interested to know your opinions. So just talking about London there, I just want to get to that before I go. If I had interaction, guys, if I had the chat going, but I don't even know if I have the chat going. Happy to have you guys watching me. Happy for you guys to check in, even just for a few minutes. I'm working on this, and absolutely delighted to be doing this. This is, for me, is just fantastic. I love it. So if you guys are watching, hit me up, send me a message, tell your friends about it. I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis. This is the start of the channel. This is the start of something big. This is going to be big. So I'm glad to have you guys here at the start, whoever is watching, and I'm really happy that I can help you guys. And I think it's because I'm also a learner, that I understand what it's like, and that you just want to enjoy learning a language and interact. And often nowadays, even I live here in Spain, and I want to find someone to practice with. Well, how do you find someone? It's quite difficult to find someone, and often we just, online is suitable, and if it can be as enjoyable as possible, and you can come in and come out, come in for 10 minutes, dip in, make a comment, I'll reply to you. It's cool. Like, I would like this in Spanish as well, except for I don't have time. So anyway, definitely want to know where you guys are listening from. I want to know your experiences of learning English. A lot of people have learned English all their lives, and it's very much been quite intense. And even now, you're learning English, and it's like, what I want to do for English, to be honest, is I want you to understand that English is not a language you have to learn. English is a language just like your language, and it's cool. It's cool to speak English. It's a brilliant language, and once you get to love it, you can make it your own. And what you can do is you can really enrich English and make it even better by using your style from your language in English. Because Irish people, where I'm from, we were colonized, and we had a style of language, and now we have translated that style into the English language, and it really enriches the English language. And it's the same when you go to South America, for example. They have a way of using the language that has been imposed on them. So you could say, for example, in Brazil, right, in a lot of languages, in English, for example, you might say to me, are you an engineer? Now I can say yes. And in the UK, a lot of people would just say, yes, I am. Or yes, just reply with yeah, yes. But in Ireland, for example, reply with the verb. Not always, but you can. So, are you an engineer? I am, yeah, I am. And it's the same in Portuguese. They'll reply with, in Spain they'll always say yes, but in Portuguese they'll reply with I am, or maybe they'll say yes. And it's just the I am, it gives it a bit more, a bit more style, a bit more character, and I really like these differences. So anyway, rambling on. Really would love to know what you guys are up to this Friday evening. See, I said evening, not night. It is night now. It's after midnight now where I am. So it's the morning time. But I wouldn't say, I feel like it's the evening. and I wouldn't be say the morning until a bit later. Last thing I'm going to look at is somebody who lived in London, and the things because we don't want to know what you like about London. We want to know what you hate about London. So let me get this ready for you. No, I'm going to give you 2 more. I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to give you more. Another thing, if you don't understand me, take your time. And whoever watches this, I guarantee, if you watch this stream, if you watch me and you continue watching, your English listening levels will just go through the roof. You'll become a lot more comfortable with listening to English. And that is half of the battle, if you can understand what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people think, oh, I need to learn this, I need to get to this level, and then I will... No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. You can learn, you can become great at reading, you can become good at articulating, at talking, but when it comes to listening, you might not be great. They're all. It's like when you open up on your computer the mixer for the volume, and you have this and this, and they're all at different levels. Well, that's how it is when you're learning a language. So, for example, I'm really good at listening and understanding Spanish, but when I have to speak, my level is much lower. Then I have the grammar, which is a different level. So and then you take the whole spectrum. So what I want to say is, if you listen to me, your English listening is going to be much, much better. I'm going to give you fantastic vocabulary, correct pronunciation. It's not going to matter if it's more than likely your pronunciation will be where you're from, your accent. But if you get the pronunciation right, it doesn't matter if I'm speaking American, Australian, or Indian English. This is what I wanted to show you. Let me jump over here 1 second. Okay, so where are we? Let's get over here and... Right, I'm going to show you I've got lots lined up for you guys. Right, 11 things I hate about London that may surprise you. May is another word for might. After 4 years of living in this complex, wonderful, sometimes infuriating city, I think I've earned the right to whinge, which means complain, over all the things I hate about London. The famous telephone boxes. And these telephone boxes, if you actually go to London, they're full of cards for prostitutes. Just in case you didn't know. There's a typical pub. Let me zoom in and give you a bit of culture about a pub. Right. See, I know all the differences. Right. The Prince's Head. Now, Irish pubs are famous around the world. But the difference between Irish pubs and English pubs is the naming of pubs. And the English tend, or like what they normally do, they tend to give their names like about something, like the dog and the duck, or the white deer, the red lion, which is probably the most famous name, the Prince's Head. Whereas Irish pubs give the name of the owner of the bar. So whatever your surname is, whatever your family name is, oh, that's their place. So if your name is O'Reilly, my name is O'Reilly, my family name, so it'd be O'Reilly's. It's possessive. O'Reilly's bar. And so that's the difference. And often O'Reilly's is, I own the bar, but the English bars are often owned by a company. So that's quite a difference. And also the lighting. Now this pub, if we zoom in, this pub has good lighting. It's dark. But often when you go into an English pub, the lighting is quite bright. And that really bothered me when I was there. I didn't like the bright lights. It's got to be comfortable. It's got to be cozy, you know. Cozy is nice and comfortable. And the low lights creates a nice comfortable feeling. So anyway, Cultural differences, boys and girls. Moving to London from the US was a dream come true. I happily... Okay. Right, we know you're from the United States. Okay, so... Number one of the things I hate about London from someone who moved from the United States is screaming foxes. For new residents, one of the most shocking things about living in London is the sheer number of foxes hanging around. Hanging around is just being around and not, just being around the place. So it's true. Urban foxes. There are foxes, lots of foxes. And sure, they seem cute at first, but when they wake you up multiple times at night with their blood-curdling screams, you feel... Okay, so one thing about foxes is it's true. When they scream, it sounds like a human is being attacked with a knife and they are screaming for their lives. The screams of a fox, it's true, are unbelievable. Okay, some Londoners are fortunate that local foxes only howl during mating season. That's when they are going to have children or cubs. It happens in January and February. Yeah. There you are. There's a fox on a shed. This is called a shed. It's interesting, yeah. Foxes used to be very difficult to see. But now... Okay. Dodging paraphernalia. What's this? It's no secret that people like to have illegal... have illegal fun in London, but it's too much to ask that they throw or toss their stuff. I'm yawning here. Paraphernalia in the bin once you finish. Even in posh is like upper class neighborhoods, you have to dodge little canisters on the pavement around parks. So this is people taking drugs and the stuff that they leave behind. So there's lots of stuff from people like syringes that people inject into themselves or whatever they use for drugs. Dog poo. Living in London with a dog is a joy. It's fun, it's happy. There's a ton of green space. Many pubs and cafes are dog friendly and strangers just might acknowledge your existence for a moment. Yeah, because when you have a dog, strangers seem to be more nice. I have children and strangers don't want to know me. But if I had a dog, they would like to know me. Unfortunately, Londoners aren't so great at picking up after their pooches. A pooch is another name for dog. Because off-lead playtime is the norm in parks and commons, people don't always notice when their dog has run off to poo behind a tree. It's understood. So people in the evening go to the park and they let their dogs run around freely. And the dogs poo. And the people don't know and they don't pick it up. I can tell you here in Spain, people are excellent about their dogs. It is unbelievable in this country. Now, there is a stereotype about Spain, completely wrong. This country, people pick up the dog poo all the time. All the time. It's amazing. But what I cannot fathom is the number of piles left to rot on the pavement. Is it so hard to keep a bag in your pocket? Okay, that is the different thing. Because I went to France as a student and I was shocked at the amount of... Poo is a name for shit. Okay, so the amount of dog poo when I was in France as a student was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I was shocked as well that on the green spaces in parks, we have a lot of green spaces in the UK and Ireland. In France, not so much. And the green space was for dogs to poo. And they would leave the poo. And the pavement, the sidewalk, the footpath was for poo. And nobody picked it up. And here in Spain, where you expect people to be stereotypically not as good, fantastic. Here they pick up their dog poo Not because of fear, just because of common decency. And also, now they walk around, when their dogs pee, they have a spray of a mixture of water and vinegar, and they spray it so it doesn't smell. Unbelievable. These guys in Spain, they follow the rules. They're way more German than you think. Way more. Trains, buses on time. I'm going to promote Spain in this in this podcast, in this vlog, because it is amazing what this country does. It's a country that we think is like what we behave like on our holidays. Like, I'm wearing this because it's the weekend, and we think they wear this all the time. And then in the morning that they drink sangria for breakfast, and then they go and celebrate on the beach, because when we have nice weather that we need to behave like this. These guys are hard-working, serious people, and they are very, very into rules. They like the rules in Spain. It is, if you do something outside the rules, you'll be like, hey man, come on, it's Spain. They're like, no, it's the rules. England is one for the rules as well. They love the rules in England. But here it's in a good way. In England, it's very restricts people, restricts their identity, and then they come on holidays to Spain and they go crazy. Spanish people, they like rules and they're happy with them. But it's done in a good way. It's more commonsensical. Anyway, let's get back to our article. Pavement hogging mums. Okay, hogging is to take all the space. Being forced into the street by pairs of yummy mummies. These are young mothers who are probably upper class. They have a lot of money and they don't need to work. May have been the first thing I hated about London. Yeah. Yummy mummies. Yes. Middle class to upper class mothers who don't work. I don't know if it was a strange power play or just a culture thing, but I was flabbergasted, amazed by the number of times two moms pushing strollers side by side would simply barrel down towards people and expect them to jump into oncoming traffic. Okay, so they're not moving out of the way. There's no reason two people have to hog the whole pavement because they're having a conversation. Let's stop enabling this behavior. Yeah, it's interesting. This is actually something, I don't know. It depends. Because I moved to Istanbul. I lived in Istanbul and I was with my wife, and there's a lot of people coming, so I would naturally make space for other people and I would go behind my wife or in front of my wife. And then after a while she said, why are you doing that? Just stay beside me. So it becomes a power play. It becomes like, yeah, we're together, we're staying beside each other. And other people do the same. It's the same here in Spain. In Spain as well, people are like, I'm with my friend, I'm staying and somehow you manage to get it's not rude. There's no bad feeling. You never hit each other, but there's the kind of like, because here, for example, if you get out of the way of somebody, it's like, yeah, I am more important than you. You will get out of my way. So then you quickly learn, like, well, I'm not going to get out of your way. I am important. And then it becomes like everybody's important. It's strange. Yeah, I don't know. It's you change. So I learned how to, but if I were in the UK or in Ireland, and we would just try and be polite and then just get angry. All right. Getting tired now. I'm going to look at a couple more of these and then I'm going to go. So, why am I going in there? There we go. Constant engineering works. Okay, we know that they're always doing works on the roads. Yes. That can be infuriating, I imagine. Yeah. Yeah. In some places where they're always doing work on the road or something. Driving is a nightmare. Why? As someone who suffers from motion sickness, it's no wonder driving is one of the top things I hate about London. That most of the residential streets are two-way. However, they're so narrow and lined with parked cars that only one vehicle can pass through. Yes, that is true. One thing I did notice about the UK is the size of the roads are tiny. Tiny. I have that here in Spain as well, though. Yes. Let's go down. Negligent landlords. Okay. Guys, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at the rest some other time because how long I've been here? 1 hour and 42 minutes. No interaction. You guys are not helping me at all, but it's been fun anyway. I just very happy to chat away. And if you guys are dipping in, as you can see, my number of followers or subscribers is, I want to get to 50. And if I can get there, I'll be happy. I'm going to get there at some point, so it doesn't matter. So just happy for you guys to dip in. I'm going to try and keep this regular. If you've been watching, thanks for watching. Hit me up with a message. I'll try and reply. And this is Dream Better English. Also have a podcast, which I'm going to be working on a bit later. If you guys want to improve your English, you're in the right place. I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you to the next level. And we're going to do it enjoying ourselves. So thanks very much for watching. Have a great weekend. And you never know, I might even be online tomorrow because I need to do as much of this as I can to get the practice in. And another thing is, practice makes perfect. Keep your ears open. We're going to give you lots of tips and tricks to improve your English. And fantastic. I'm going to talk to you guys later on. Take it easy. Have a great weekend. All the best. See you later. Bye-bye.